Good evening and welcome to the Poets Cafe. It is where artists comes alive. The spoken word brings forth the inner creation of hidden treasures, expressing tones of lyrics felt within the soul, a vibration that rings stories untold. This platform represents artists of all backgrounds, be it writers, singers, spoken word, artistic expression in painting, literature, poetry, and a journey through life. Mystery seeks to bring new ideas and opportunities through the mind at all levels. Wherefore my time leaving tomorrow on the wings of yesterday, where birds fly higher than the mystery of dreams never knew. Why do mellow sounds ring silently without ever leaving memories of my lonely blues? We walk by the calls of nature, sing in harmony, pray for the love of the skies, and dance with the stars like a feminine ballerina, gazing across the stage in her soft-toed ballerina shoes. Welcome to the Artists of Poetry Cafe show, Poetically Speaking, hosted by Terry Benjamin and Ron C. McCrae. As delighted as we are, we can't wait to engulf a new wave of presenting this platform to our audience. So, sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Now, let's get started.
Yeah, let's get started. I'm Terry, this is Ron. And it's obvious that what we're putting down, you're picking up, and we appreciate that. Today's agenda, never say, oh, the joy of retirement. I was going to say we dropping it like it's hot, and you picking it up. But I didn't know if the children were watching, you know. But you get the idea. You get the idea that we're here. We're here to have a good time. We're here to expand your consciousness, to expand your some possibilities. And today we have a very interesting topic. Today's agenda, never say old, the joy of retirement. And I say the joy of retirement because, again, you have to understand if you do things right, retirement is really a chance to start it all over and do it again. You know, I've been fortunate that when I retired at age 57 and a half, I was able to go into a whole new career. Then I retired for a second time as a college professor. And then I was able to enjoy my retirement. Now, I don't think I'll be retiring again because I'm not going to work again for anybody else. But the thing is that retirement is what we're talking about. And as with anything, especially like we talked last week about lifelong learning and healthy aging, you don't think about successful retirement at age 60 or 65. You think about it before. So when it comes, you can really take advantage of it. And so I'd like to begin with the quote of the day. And it simply says here, retirement offers a wonderful opportunity to move outside the box and draw on our imaginative powers to invent new dimensions for our work, leisure, learning, relationships, and life in general. And that is from David C. Borchardt. And again, he wrote a book called The Joy of Retirement, which we'll talk about a little later on. But again, you know, we're talking about a subject that you'll probably have to deal with sooner or later. And I would say the wise person would deal with it sooner. But as always, we continue, and we have what we call Ron's Poetry. I don't know, I keep on thinking, I want to say that Ron's Poetry Corner. You know, I don't know, but I don't know if that applies. But here's, ladies and gentlemen, Ron, and this is Ron's Poetry. How about that?
And so it's my pleasure, my brother. You know, I have a piece in reference to our topic for today, but I'd like to introduce something else in short that also ties into the importance of this platform and who we are as a culture and as a people, to all of my brothers and sisters and everyone else across the board. Mm-hmm. So let me just jump right into it and introduce this. Mm-hmm. I have a book, you know, we always pop it up with different books and titles and themes and whatnot, but it's interesting that I like to introduce this book, and this one is Africa 101, The Wake-Up Call. And those who may have heard about it and those who may have forgotten about it, but nevertheless, let me just introduce. This is written by and put together by, and I'll apologize if I do not pronounce her name correctly, but Arikana Shahombori Kwa. She's a medical doctor, a former ambassador, okay, and she's an activist and very active in raising the voice for all of African Americans and those who from the motherland know the motherland to return back to motherland, even if not physical, at least mentally in your heart. You need to go back and revisit your history, study your history, understand what is happening today, and know why the voice is raising up and reaching out to you to return back home. Now, yes, many have said, well, I ain't from Africa. I don't know about no African people.
That.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But this is the only culture. The voice of part of this culture is raising that voice. But you look at every other culture, they know, they understand, they study their history in reference to going back to their motherland. So let me just read this little bit, and give you a little insight, and we'll come back to the rest. Dedication. I dedicate this book to all African people of African descent, friends of, and some of my parts is out, statewide, worldwide, all who have good intentions in support of the country, advancements and development. I also dedicate this book to our African ancestors, those who have died on the continent, as well as those who died as enslaved people across the Atlantic. They paid the ultimate price, and it is their shoulders we stand on today. In addition, I also dedicate this book to all black men and women who were murdered by racist white men from Emmett Till to George Floyd. And we can go before Emmett Till. That was the ultimate one at that time to showcase the brutality beyond measure. Beyond measure. So again, the important, know your history, study your history, because in today's society, you can't pass on to the younger generation unless you have a dialogue with the younger generation to understand where we came from and that they know where their ancestors came from, which is who we are today in the present. And this last piece too, let me just read the back if I may. Africa 101, Wake Up Call is a book about the hunters and the hunted. The hunters are Africa's explorers, slavers, colonizers, and neo-colonizers. And the hunted are the African people who survived against severe odds. In this book, former African Union Ambassador to the United States, Her Excellency Ambassador Arikana Shahombori Kwa, MD, FAAFP, tells the story of Africa in her usual in-your-face style. Although she serves as a diplomat, she says that being diplomatic about the real issues facing Africa will do us no good. She warns in this book that the hunt is still ongoing. The call on Africans and people of African descent all over the world to rise up in defense of our beloved continent, using personal stories, her father's account from the village of Shavu in Zimbabwe, and solid historical reference. Her Excellency Ambassador Arikana Shahombori Kwa, MD, educates, motivates, and challenges the status quo with regards to Western countries' abuse of Africa. This book will challenge you to your core and move you to action. I can't breathe, get off my neck. As we all heard that story with George Floyd. That's what's important.
That's very important. And again, these books that he's presenting here are books that are probably out of print at this particular time, especially the book Before the Mayflower, although I have a paperback copy of it. But I also want to comment on the fact that the people that you presented, they're not only authors, but they're actually physicians. So they've studied and they know a body of knowledge, and they know it in depth because they have become doctors. So I really thank you for sharing that with us. But again, it just goes to show how important reading is, you know, and that's why when we talk about we have the segment of the program called Mind, Body, and Books, and in that segment I present at least 2 books. But by way of introduction to Mind, Body, and Books today, I just want to let you know when I talk about developing the habit of literacy, I suggest that you do 5 things every day. And those 5 things are reading, writing, talking, listening, and viewing. View a good movie, view a good TV show. Because again, these 5 things will definitely feed your mind, and when you feed your mind, you feed your body, and you feed your spirit. And so we're saying to you that we bring this program to you because we're trying to build a community, and we're trying to build a community of critical thinkers. Because again, I don't want you to say, well, you know, Terry said this or Ron said that. I want you to do your own research, you know, and I want you to be able to say whatever I say, I can back it up. And that's why many times I'll come on and I'll have something to say, but I like to back it up with some research. And so I might say, you know, I think retirement is a good thing if you do it right. And I'll refer to a book. So the book, I have 2 books that I want to share in the segment Mind, Body, and Books. And it's called The Joy of Retirement. And this is the cover here. The Joy of Retirement, Finding Happiness, Freedom, and the Life You've Always Wanted. And it's from David C. Brochard with Patricia A. Donahue. And again, this is a book that I have from my personal library. And it's really a book that I go to from time to time because, again, I think a lot of these books, Ron, you know, you read it once, but sometimes it doesn't really hit you until you get a little older, where you can always, when you can sort of appreciate it a little bit more. And I just want to read just a paragraph from this book just to put us in the proper mindset to accept this information. And so again, you know, we talked about self-realization to actually reach your full potential. And in this book, The Joy of Retirement, it says here on page 10, it says that self-realization is an instinctive desire to become all that we are capable of and to contribute our best talents in deeply meaningful ways. Again, so this goes to show you that, and Kendra says, humans must make conscious choices to achieve their highest state of being. And again, it goes on to say here, taking full advantage of our opportunity for self-realization requires self-knowledge, an energizing vision for your future, and awareness of your best options for applying your knowledge and vision. And so again, self-realization, realizing who you are and why you're here at this particular time. And the second book, again, this is a nonfiction book and this is a fiction book. And so when I say developing the habit of literacy, reading, writing, talking, listening, and viewing, I suggest, again, you know, you can do what you want to do, but I suggest that you read at least 2 books a week, okay? And I suggest that you read a nonfiction book and a fiction book, okay? So this is the nonfiction book. It's The Joy of Retirement. And then the fiction book is called Black Hamptons, number 2. And this is a sequel to the first book. And this one is Gentrification. And again, this is by Carl Weber with LaJill Hunt. And Carl Weber is known for the creator of the book series Family Business, which is now a TV series. And I think they're in about their 5th season. And so again, and they have a offshoot of that called Family Business New Orleans, where they have the same part of this family in New Orleans. So I just want to read just a bit from the preface to the book here. It says here, things are heating up in the Black Hamptons, a affluent community of African Americans nestled among the shore of Long Island, New York. The setting may be idyllic, but behind closed doors, the drama between family members and neighbors is intense. And so again, obviously, it makes room for a lot of drama, and again, and it's very entertaining, you know. And it's so funny, you know, Ron. You know, we have these stories on TV, and my only complaint and my only concern, especially when we look at some of the crime shows with the black crime families, because the family business is really about a group of black criminals, really. And the thing is that they're the heroes. And I think all this started, and I'm going to put a pin on this here. This is where all this stuff started, okay? Back in the day, quick story. Why don't you take my son to movies? Every weekend we would go to the movies. And, you know, every time we go to movies, we into the movies, and he would ask me, Dad, who's the good guys? Because he wanted to root for the good guy, you know, as opposed to the bad guy. But now things have changed around. I remember this movie Payback with Mel Gibson, and he was with a group of criminals, and they robbed a bank. And what they did is that they, you know, after they did the heist, they shot him and they took his wife, and they thought he was dead. So he came back for revenge. Now, this is what has happened in our society right now. We have these power shows, which I watch, which I enjoy, but understand that they're criminals, okay? And the only thing that redeems them is that the people they're dealing with are even worse criminals. So there's really no good guys or bad guys. It's just worse guys or worse than that. And so now it's confusing because we find ourselves rooting for these killers and murderers and whatnot because the people that they're against are even worse. And so now there's confusion. And so it's nobody who is the good guy or the bad guy. It's just different degrees of badness. You know? And so now we have a problem. But again, I encourage you. And again, when you read your fiction, you don't have to read about gangsters or anything like that there. There's a lot of black books about history and that kind of thing. And so again, I encourage you. I encourage you to develop a habit of literacy. And that habit of literacy brings you beyond the simple reading and writing and et cetera. Really, again, I believe that if you read every day, you write every day, you talk every day, you listen every day, and you look at something viewing worthwhile, that you'll be a better person. And again, and that's just my simple suggestion, but I do believe that when you're talking about retirement, you have to have something to do. Okay, I think a lot of our colleagues who have retired, I mean, there's always a sad stories around about people who have retired and just passed on because they had nothing to do. They just sort of sit around and become very sedentary, and they begin to decline. Don't let that happen to you, though. Not you.
You know, it's interesting, and you ask your own point, and I like to say this, and because you really say that, so I'm piggybacking up what you just said. You know, you have books, storytelling, fiction, no matter how you look at it. Even the fiction is a reality of creativity.
That's right. That's right.
Because if you're not thinking, you're not dreaming, you're not emotionally connected,
That's right.
then you're not inspired to do anything. So even with this show, as we reach out to you, we asking you to tell us your story, or tell yourself, tell your neighbor, tell family, somebody. Say, look, I have a story.
That's right.
Because every child that is in the home right now, young, middle, niece, nephew, whatever, is in the corner playing with something, they being creative. That's their story.
That's right.
But how many of the adults themselves is writing a story centered around the kids?
That's beautiful.
Or writing your own story, fiction.
Yeah.
And just in short, right quick.
Yeah, please.
Everybody's heard the movie and saw the movies. What's that movie? I forgot just that quick. It'll come back to me.
It'll come back to him.
You know. But the importance that this lady, to come to me as I'm telling the story, it'll come back to you and remind me that here she was on Section 8, welfare, teach Harry Potter.
Okay.
Teaching her kids. She created a story.
The
To
author of the
entertain
series.
them,
Yes,
to offset her mind of the condition that she thought she was in, but she didn't experience that because she indulged into the story of creativity that became a reality in a lot of ways. It's a reality because everybody that pretty much went to the movies, wrote the books,
That's right.
ultimately rose up to a level of a billionaire. You see, so you can't get to a billionaire's level unless you start with nothing.
Yeah.
And so you're right, on point.
And that's beautiful because you said because she created these stories, these Harry Potter stories for her children, and then she released it public, and that whole thing took off. We have people who are commenting. Monica Sane, she says hello. Sheila Bird says hello, family. And Monica Sane says something very serious. She said, so true about being active in retirement. I already have plans for my future retirement. Travel, teaching part-time, spending time with loved ones, part-time, volunteering, and etc. Again, you have to have a plan, because if not, you're going to find yourself with all this time on your hands and really nothing to do with it. So yeah, Monica, thank you for really that comment. Sheila, always love you, and again, you've been a great producer with shows that I've been involved in, and I appreciate that. So again, we have this platform, and this platform is for you. And so we love your commentary. Also, give us some ideas for some future topics, because we want to make sure whatever we do here is going to benefit you. Now, I want to go on to the part of the program which we call Music is Lit. And this time, we're going to go back to the Book of Wonder. So I'm so happy. The Book of Wonder, the Book of Wonder, we talk about Stevie Wonder. And last time we talked about Stevie Wonder, political. This time we're going to talk about Stevie, from Stevie with love. We're going to call it that, okay? And again, some songs that are about love, but again, with his deep insight, his deep humanity. And so when Stevie says love, it is really a bigger thing. And so the first poem I like to read is from 1966, and it's called Hey Love, and this is from Stevie Wonder. And he says, hey love, may I have a word with you? I'd like to tell you just what I've been going through. My nights are so long as I watch each hour go by, hoping and praying that someday I will be your guy. Hey love, you're my one true soul desire. Hey love, baby, can you feel this burning fire? Hey love, there's one thing I found so true. When you are near me, I go through a change or two. Hearing your footsteps, I hurry to catch your eye, and I stand there waiting. But girl, you just waltz on by. Mm-hmm. Say love, with a cold heart you are dealing. Hey love, it's an awful hurting feeling. Hey love, don't pass me without some sign. Just look me over, you might want to change your mind. And that's from Stevie Wonder, Hey Love. And he sings it so beautifully, got a nice little beat to it. And again, and it's so, Ron, it makes me laugh because here's a man who's so blind but has so much insight. How is that possible? Now he can't see what we see in the physical, but yet inside his brain is a whole world. Explain that to me, brother. I don't understand.
And I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad you asked that question.
I'm glad you're gonna try to answer.
Believe me, I'm gonna answer that question because we say it on a regular basis. We say it every time.
Yes.
Those who physically can see, those who physically have the opportunity, is doing nothing, and yet you see and hear, as you just mentioned, Stevie Wonder, who's physically blind, has all the whole world who showcased to us in his music, his literature, his books, whatever, constantly bringing to you the darkness into a marvelous light. But have you stopped to look at it from his perspective, from your perspective? Because again, you can physically see, and yet and still, and I'm going to be honest with you, you're totally blind.
Yes,
blind about what's in front of you, blind about your inside, your creativity. So you're absolutely correct. How is that possible? It's all possible because those who physically can see are blind about the ones who can't physically see, but tell you what the world looks like.
Yeah, we miss so much, but see it again, but we miss so much. But we have Stevie Wonder to help us. Now, this song here, one of my favorites here, and this was released in 1976, and this was Stevie Wonder is talking about, and the title of the song is "Joy Inside My Tears."
Mm.
And he says here, I've always come to the conclusion that but is the way of asking for permission to lay something heavy on one's head. So I have tried to not be the one who'll fall into that line. But what I feel inside, I think you should know. And baby, that's you make life's history because you brought some joy inside my tears. And you have done what no one thought could be. You've brought some joy inside my tears. I've always felt that tomorrow is for those who are too much afraid to go past yesterday and start living for today. I feel that lasting moments are coming far and few between. So I should tell you of the happiness you bring. Baby, it's you. Make life's history. You brought some joy inside my tears. I mean, that just the title is profound, joy inside my tears, because again, it's sadness, but it's revelation. And this song, again, this really sort of sums up for me the Stevie Wonder experience, where a man in just some simple lyrics can really tell a story that could fill many, many books. And this is from 1972, and this is a classic, and many people have sung it. That's Nancy Wilson comes to mind, and other people as well. And it's a short song, but it's just so powerful. And it's called All in Love is Fair. And it goes, all is fair in love. Love's a crazy game. Two people vow to stay, and love as one they say. But all has changed with time. The future none can see. The road you leave behind, ahead lies mystery. But all is fair in love, I had to go away. The writer takes his pen to write the words again, that all in love is fair. All of fate's a chance, is either good or bad. I toss my coin to say, in love with me you'll stay. But all in war is so cold, you either win or lose. When all is put away, the losing side I'll play. But all is fair in love, I should have never left your side. A writer takes his pen to write the words again, that all in love is fair. A writer takes his pen to write the words again, that all in love is fair. A writer takes his pen to write the words again, that all in love is fair. I tell you, Ron, before I go to my last song, what do you think about that? All in love is fair.
All love is fair. It's interesting. In short, it's really looking at what defines love. The average can come up with all kind of chaotic attitudes and frustration, whatnot. But what defines love? Well, let me say this in short. Love is the air you breathe. Love is the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, everything all around, all the creation, harmoniously moving about, enjoying itself, except you and I.
That's right.
You see, and our topic again is about joy, joy of retirement. Right. And as it was said, as you said, in reference to what are you doing? So even with that, all is fair. What is love to you? How do you define it? Matter of fact, break it down in the letters and showcase and bring it back to us. What does L represent? O-V-E. Tell us from your perspective.
Yeah, I like that. I like that because I always like a good acronym, And Monica Sain says, I love Stevie's music. Well, I do too. And Laretha Foster Bram, she says, I love retirement. I love it, and not that I like it, it's cool. I love retirement. So funny. Before I finish up with this here, I remember I always when my twins were really small, I would go to them and ask them these questions and whatnot. No, they didn't know what they were talking about, but I just like to hear them talk. And I asked myself, what is retirement? And my little Aurelia said, retirement is when you stay home and get checks. I said, man, that sounds pretty good. I want to retire because you, at 3 years old, knows that I can just sit home and get checks. I mean, I don't have to work to get this, It just comes because I'm old, I'm retired, I'm getting checks, So I love retirement. And so, Ron, this last poem that I like to read is really, is deep. And the deep thing about this is that this song was actually written for a movie. So again, I'm thinking like, I mean, now he can't see the movie, but he wrote a soundtrack to this movie. And the name of the movie was Jungle Fever. And then on that soundtrack, he had a song called These Three Words. And this is from Stevie Wonder, 1991, from the soundtrack for the movie, written and directed by Spike Lee, Jungle Fever. And it reads like this. He says here, when was the last time that they heard you say, mother or father, I love you? And when was the last time that they heard you say, daughter or son, I love you? Ones you say you cherish every day can instantly be taken away. Then you say, I know this can't be true, when you never took the time to simply tell them, I love you. When was the last time that they heard you say, sister or brother, I love you? And when was the last time that they heard you say, darling or best friend, I love you? The one for whom you give your very life could be taken away in the twinkling of an eye. Through your tears, you ask, why did you go? Knowing you don't always show just how much you love them so. These three words, sweet and simple. These three words, short and kind. These three words always kindle an aching heart to smile inside. I know a family who hasn't a cent to their name, and yet the joy and love they have between them, they always claim. And when one's called from life, the survived mourn the loss and will never be the same, that they rejoice in knowing they gave them their all. These three words, sweet and simple. These three words, short and kind. These three words, always kindle an aching heart to smile inside these three words. I tell you, man, that's so powerful. These three words, and that's why, back in the day, around when we were growing up, I know specifically that fathers and sons didn't hug. They didn't hug, they didn't kiss each other. I mean, you save your kiss and hugs for your daughter. And I changed that around, man. Every time I see my son, I hug him, kiss him on his head, and just show him the love that I have for him. Again, but it's always the thing where everybody, husband and wives, sometimes they get in trouble because they don't say it, I love you. And the husband say, well, I pay the rent, I pay the mortgage and whatnot. I take care of the clothes and all the other kind of stuff, but you didn't say I love you. And sometimes we need to hear these three words, I love you. And again, sometimes it's hard to say that, but you know what? You need to learn how to say that, not just to your loved ones, but to say it to yourself. There's the exercise that many therapists tell you to do, is to look into the mirror and look into your own eyes. Look into your own eyes in the mirror and say, I love you. Because again, I truly believe that you can't love anybody unless you love yourself. And so again, self-care starts with you. With you saying, I love you, and acting in that way. Because if you love you, you're not going to beat yourself up or talk bad to yourself or talk down to yourself, because you love you. And if you're loving you, you can love other people. And so, again, I'll leave you with Stevie Wonder, again, from Stevie with Love. And Ron, you want to say something about that? Then we're going to go into a discussion of finding joy in retirement.
Yeah, just in short, the most important, and what we just talked about, and it's so valid, it's the foundation of life, the foundation of who you are. And here in Scripture is 1 Corinthians 11 and 13. God, the word says, you may have the gift of many, but if you have not love, you've done nothing. No matter how you look at it. And there's too much darkness and sadness. And there is the direct intentional, unintentional. Sometimes we forget. I forget sometimes. I am reminded when I hear something like this, when I hear the word love, when I see somebody, then I'm reminded that I supposed to be saying on a regular basis of my kids, my grandkids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or the ones I haven't seen or talked to in a while, at least on the phone or through text. I love you. Mm-hmm. But let's keep in mind this last piece. Mm-hmm. You need to stay away from all the texting and pick up the phone so somebody can hear your voice.
That's right.
Because
old-fashioned about
the deaf can't respond and the blind can't see. So the thing is, pick up the phone, touch them, go by and say hello, or just stop by and say I love you. That's right. And that's it. No matter how you look at it, because it was almost regular for us. Yeah, yeah. I love you, auntie. I love you, this and that and the other. Right. Yeah, yeah. Boy, you didn't say this. I love you.
That's right. And sometimes, boy, you get ready to run outside to play, and your mother say, "Hey, did you forget something?" What
exactly.
Hey,
that's right.
Give me some love.
That's right.
I won't see you until later on this afternoon. And again, and we take that whole concept for granted, And I think, again, Ron, I'm at the point in my life, I really want to go beyond happiness. Happiness is cool, but I want to find joy. I want to have joy. I want to have joy every day. And Aretha Foster Brahms says, "Love is life operating virtually everlasting." Okay, and again, and I love the fact that I know my grandmother. She gave me the greatest love because her love was unconditional. She passed before she saw me become a college professor and the things that I've achieved in a material sense. But when I was a boy, she loved me just because I was her grandson, and that love was unconditional. I mean, my grandmother loved me because I existed. There was no conditional. I mean, when you get married, your wife says that she loves you unconditionally, but when the money gets funny, you don't pay the bills, you don't do what you're supposed to do, you act stupid, that love can turn into something else. But the point that I'm making, and quite seriously, love. I think the love is a foundation for so many things. I think the love is the sustainer for our lives. Is really a hope for our future. Because when I look at my son, I know that he was conceived in love. I look at his twins. I know that they were conceived in love. And again, and no matter who you are, at one time when you were a baby, when you couldn't take care of yourself, we didn't know who you were, when they had to do everything for you, that was love. That was love. Maybe it changed as you got older, but again, for everybody out there, there's someone who loved you. They loved you with no conditions. And Monica Sain says, grandmas are the very best. My grandma Winnie was always someone I could turn to, and she was hilarious too. Aretha Foster Brahms said, love is needed. Even more so now, man, And that's why, again, that's why on this program, we try to develop a community because we need each other. I think one of the lessons from the COVID was the fact that we missed each other's company, And one of the sad things, one of the down things about it is that we got to know each other in a very deep way, and many divorces came about as a result of the COVID. When people found out that being with that person 24/7 and not going to work, or they going to work, that had definitely put a pressure on their relationship, And so we had many divorces during COVID. But again, it really shows me that we need each other. But Ron, my question to you is, what joy have you found in retirement?
Oh, we don't have enough time for that.
That's a whole nother show.
Hey, that might be 5 shows. Let me tell you.
Part 1 through 5.
Let me say this in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Again, to tie into, as I introduced this last week by my pastor, Dr. Evans, Thurman Evans. What are the leading causes of life? A prescription for living at your highest and best.
Yes.
Now, this topic is centered around retirement, which means we have reached that level. But those who have to climb the ladder have the opportunity to really live your life in the moment to reach that plateau. And so I have a piece here, and I was saving it for last, because it's a little funny. And I'm going to tell you, as you asked, what joy. Because I'm going to tell you, let me say this before we move on, is because I'm trying to excuse my French. So I don't have to answer to the nonsense, the rhetoric, the control, the miserable, because I'm quite sure the average is listen to me.
That's right.
Know what it's like to go home and irritated, aggravated. You take out on your family. You don't want to get up and go to work, and all of a sudden you get sleepy in the morning when you know you got to be there, and you're rushing down, killing your opportunity to see the next step or somebody. There's nothing worse than knowing what love is and freedom.
Yes.
No matter how you look at it. But I'm going to stop right there.
And it's so funny because we're having a conversation here with the Aretha and also Monica. And Aretha says here, I am now able to operate in my purpose in my retirement. And Monica says COVID was a weird situation. I was sad I couldn't travel to visit family, but I got so much more time with local friends because we had more time. I got so many phone calls from folks I haven't heard from in years, too. That's one thing I missed from that time. And that is so true, and that's why I said, we're trying to develop a community, but we're trying to develop a community of, critical thinkers, And I'm going to read here from the book, The Joy of Retirement. It says here, how do you know if you're being successful in life? Answering that question is key to having a fulfilling life in your senior years. During your years in full-time work, success was probably determined largely by the imperatives of the workplace and the pressing responsibility of home life. Success in the workplace, however, tends to leave precious little leeway for individuality. You either perform to the required standard or look for a new situation. Failing to adjust to minimally acceptable standards or acting out of character with company expectation earns condemnation via poor performance, evaluation, or even loss of job. Business owners and senior executives in the private sector are clear about what success means. It's a bottom line proposition. Failure in that area means that going out of business or being demoted into obscurity. On the home front, you may have kids to raise, family expectations to fulfill, or social obligations to meet. More than likely, success in your personal or home life has not been as easy to measure as it was at work. At home, there's no promotion or raise to earn for paying the bills on time or emptying the dishwasher or consoling a disappointed child. Yet at times, you may have felt that success at home was all that really mattered, even if it was intangible. At other times, you may have thought that there was no way you could ever feel successful at home. It was all you could do to keep hanging in day after day, regardless of how you evaluate your success at home and at work over the years. You would need to come up with some new criteria for feeling successful in senior life. And all I can say to that is simply this. Again, as a writer, I get up in the morning, my first order of business is just to lay in bed and just to pray and to meditate. And then I'll put my Kindle on my chest and I'll listen to some podcast. Then I'll get up, I'll shower, and I'll shave, and I try to get to my home office by 9. And I'm in that office from 9 to 12. And whatever I do in that time is my productive time. And then after 12 or 1, I go to the farmer's market, I get something, I decide what I'm going to cook and eat for that day. And then I come home, and then I might do some more reading. I might watch some TV or whatnot, but that's my time. And then, I might take a nap. And then, I have the rest of the evening to myself. Now, I say that to say that, for me, success in retirement is having a routine. Now, that's my regular routine, but of course I can change it up. And that's the beautiful thing about being in retirement. You do have that freedom to live the life the way that you want to live it, and being single. That for many people, that is a curse, but for me, it's a blessing because I get the chance to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I mean, when I was married, I enjoyed married life. I enjoyed the ups and downs. I enjoyed the ways raising the kids and pleasing the wife and all the other kind of stuff, But now, in my retirement and my singleness, I enjoy that even more because, again, I can do the things that I want to do without not having to ask somebody else for their input. And for me, that's given me a freedom that, that's invaluable. I can't put a price on that. And it's given me a freedom and a contentment. And like I said, I can exercise the way I want to. I can take walks whenever I want to and that kind of thing. So I'm just saying to you that one of the things about being retired is you have to have some kind of routine. And I don't know about you, but when I later in the evening decide to take it down, I feel really good because I've been productive for that time in the office. I've maybe working on this program. Maybe I'm writing something. I do book reviews for Amazon. I do a daily blog on black music. And so, again, I do all these things. And, again, one of the things, and the last thing I want to say about retirement, it gives you a chance to really explore your full creativity, whatever that might be. It might not be writing. It may be interior decorating, It may be counseling friends and family. Whatever that is, you have the time to do that. And you've earned that time through the work that you've done. And so, again, I'm happy, more than happy, with my second retirement because, again, it's really helps. And Monica says here, that sounds like my kind of retirement. And again, and Aretha said, I'm going to go back to what she says. And then Monica says, that's right, Ronald. No more work politics when you're retired. Aretha says, I'm operating full-time and my purpose is what I meant. Facts. And so, again, it's so funny here. We're having a conversation with two young ladies, because everybody's younger than I am. So, so Monica and Aretha, we thank you so much for your commentary and your input. But my brother, do you have a routine? Is there a routine you follow, or you just spontaneous? You just like whatever you want to do, right?
I'm glad you asked that question because you just answered it for me. I'm telling you, you have a lot of people who follow the routine. I've never been one to follow routine. Anybody know me? It's random because at any given point in time, spontaneously. And that's also adds to the joy of freedom.
It's good, freedom.
I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. Even if I'm walking in a circle. I feel free walking in a circle. So the point is, exactly. And when you finish, you can stop and laugh and say, daggone, I just walked in a circle. What's wrong with me? Well, who you talking to? I'm talking to me. Me who? But let me say this, because again,
beautiful,
see,
beautiful.
That's why this brother, he's all right, because he can say something, and all of a sudden, let me read this too before you go on, because this ties right into it. As part of the opening, and we're sincere about this. Wherefore my time leaving tomorrow on the wings of yesterday, where birds fly higher than the mystery of dreams never knew. Why do mellow sounds ring silently without ever leaving memories of my lonely blues? Mm-hmm. We walk by the calls of nature, sing in harmony, pray for the love of the skies, and dance with the stars like a feminine ballerina gazing across the stage in her soft-toed ballerina shoes. Male or female, believe me, there are ballerinas out there. I'm a ballerina because sometimes I'm dancing. You never know. That's what it's all about. But I have something when we come back to that to read to you because, again, I found it hilarious because when Terry put it in the agenda, I'm like, I tried to figure out, what am I going to write? And I was up 3 o'clock this morning writing something.
Came with a masterpiece right there. And I want you to read that line about dancing butt naked because I can relate. Read that.
Okay, you want me to do that? Latter part, I'll come back.
You do that now because okay. Before I forget, because I forget, I'm at the age where if I don't get on, I'm going to forget it.
Give me 1 second. Okay. I think this is it.
I have commentary.
Okay, here it is. And let me start here. You did it when you were young. So why not now? Shake a groove thing. Yeah.
Shake your groove thing.
Dance at night or day away. You are grown and sexy. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's yours. Do it. Do what you want and be proud of your retirement. Time waits for no one. Enjoy the moment while you can. However you do it, do it. Remember on what it was, feel the thrill, rush through, and let someone know you haven't gone insane.
And my commentary is simply this. And Dina Robinson says, "Hi, Terry and Ronald. I'm here. Thank you, Dina, for being there. I just want to say this quickly. There is a phrase they say, dance like no one is looking." And I still do that because I am still a big James Brown fan. I can still do the James Brown slide, and I can do it across my apartment. And so I'm saying to you, dance like no one is looking. Sing like nobody is hearing it but you. Because, again, I know everybody who can't sing, but when you listen to the radio and your favorite song comes on and you sing that song all out of key and all out of tune, the thing is, in your mind, you sound just like the record. That's a miracle.
Here it is, and I apologize. I missed it.
It came back.
I missed the point. Here it is, and you're right. Here's a bit of secret. Now, this is all adults on this media now. I know you listen.
Well, at least the women, Laretha and Monica and Dina, they're adults. I can vouch for them.
All right, now.
They're grown women.
Okay, you're the guardian. Here it is. Here's a bit of a secret. Dance and romance your sensation butt naked in your room at your home.
That's right.
Your room at your home. Apartment, whatever.
That's right.
Butt naked.
You paid for it.
You paid for it. It's yours.
That's right.
Doesn't matter.
That's right.
Shake a groove thing.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny now. Okay, we're getting intimate here. Send the kids out the room. Gina says, yes. OMG. That's oh my God. Or oh my goodness. Monica says, ha ha ha. I stay doing my shower concerts. Now, Monica, I'm getting a thought now, so we got to move right along.
We got the shades down.
Yeah, we got the shades down. But the point, and again, let me say this to you, okay? For my seniors, for the retirement, every day, read, write, talk, listen, and view, but also laugh and exercise. For me, that's the fountain of youth. I tell you, man, I always find something to laugh about. If I can't find something, I'll make up something, And exercise. I walk at least 2 hours a day. Sometimes I just walk to the farmer's market to get some blueberries, and I come back home, And that's part of my routine because, again, I know for myself, I have to stay active. I have to stay active. I have to drink my water and that kind of thing. But the point I'm making to you that in retirement, you can do all that you want to do, And sometimes you can break the routine, you can do that. But again, I'm saying to you, please have something to look forward to, have someone to reach out to, have someone to just make somebody happy. Make somebody happy, make somebody laugh. Make somebody feel, see, the thing they talk about, people like to be seen, people like to be heard. And that is so true, especially when we get older. One of the things, Ron, that I always tell you about, I know I'm successful as a father because my son, who is 40, still wants to spend time with me. And he doesn't have to do that because he's at the point where, hey, I can just forget my father because I got my own life. But he wants to spend time with me. My twins, my grandchildren, they still want to spend time with Pop and walk. And yesterday we went down to the park, to play basketball, and we're just walking and talking. They're talking to me, I'm talking to them and whatnot. And sometimes we got to stop to get our points across, But again, they're 12 years old, and I know there's going to be a time when they're not going to want to hang with Pop. I know that. I know that time is coming. But for right now, man, it's beautiful. And one last thing. For our seniors and whatnot. Sometimes you got to laugh. You got to exercise, but sometimes you got to stay in the moment. Stay in the moment. Right now, I feel good. I'm with my friend. I'm with my audience and whatnot. I'm just right now. I don't have a care in the world. Right now, this moment, at 5:52, I'm in the moment. I don't. I'm not talking about. I'm not thinking about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen later on tonight or whatnot. Right now, being in a moment, it is so important because sometimes we get ourselves worked up about our worries and our fears. But right now, in this moment, all is well. All is well. You got to tell yourself, all is well right now in this moment.
And that's all you have. That's all we have. And let me say this too, that many misconstrue or misunderstanding as to what constitutes a senior. Mm-hmm. Senior starts at 50, 50. Mm-hmm. Starts at the first level of a senior plus. Mm-hmm. It doesn't start at 80, 90, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You see, it starts at 50. So even whether you're younger than 50 or at 50, and when you talk about a senior, know that you let somebody know, I still got it. I can still do it. Whatever that doing may be, that's on you. But the point is, I can still do it. And there's nothing greater than the joy of seeing somebody who can get out there 80, 90, 100 years old, young, and still do it. Because when you was a kid and you look at kids, you get excited. Oh, look at the kids. But let the kids get excited. Hey, that's my grandma. That's grandma.
Look at Pop.
Look at Pop.
Papa doing his thing.
Doing this now. That's what's important.
Go Pop. Go Pop.
So let me take this last minute and read this piece in reference to retirement that the brother had put in here, and I couldn't figure out what I was going to write. But nevertheless, it ties into our topic today.
Yes, it does.
Retirement. Retirement is a platform for a life journey one has to travel until the day is done. Wisdom seeks which you came, birthing a child into this world, which is unknown to many. And for the first time, tears we cry. That's right. Raise a child how you want them to go. And when they reach that level, they are on their own. Retirement does not define how to revisit the one you brought here to care for a child, grandchild, or many others. The responsibility represents the do or die when failing to learn how to fly. Eagles soar and dive deep at speeds beyond a swoop up their prey. What about you? How fast are you traveling to scoop up everything you have saved for retirement? Learning to fly is a metaphor for survival in life. Remember to raise a child, and they are supposed to fend for themselves. Like a bird when teaching the little winglets how to flap their wings, or die trying until an invader seeks to steal their life against their will. Surviving is the learning process without reverting back to the comfort of retirement one has labored for. Learn to fly, enjoy life to its fullest, and whatever is on the bucket list, try it, feel it, learn it, taste it, savor it, cling to it, even a train ride, boat cruise, whatever the desire may be, and reach that climax of a sensation that is mind-blowing to say, yes, I've done something that feels good or great. Just enjoy the moment in life. Today for tomorrow is not promised. Yesterday has passed. So, what are you waiting for other than to die? And this is the part I'll come back and complete it because I said this before. Here's a bit of a secret. Dance and romance your sensation butt naked in your room at your home. You did it when you were young, so why not now? Shake a groove thing, yeah. Dance the night or day away. You are grown and sexy. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's yours. Do what you want and be proud of your retirement. Time waits for no one. Enjoy the moment while you can. However you do it. Reminisce on what it was. Feel the thrill rush through and let someone know you haven't gone insane.
Whew, please. Dina, Sheila, Monica, Laretha, but we was dropping this hot, and you were picking it up. And so I thank you. And Dina says, yes, mothers, we have got to learn how to cut the wings of our sons and let them fly. And again, and please, this is for everybody, okay? Especially a special thank you to the ladies that are sending their commentaries. Again, remember these 3 words. I love you. Good night.